Well, yep, Brick Planet has closed. It's actually been a few weeks since Brick Planet's closed, but I'm just now making a video on this because I'm now just realizing that it's actually a lot harder to make YouTube videos than I thought it would be. Um, so yeah, I guess based on what I just said a second ago, you can already tell what the video is going to be about. Unfortunately, Brick Planet has closed, so I'm just going to be giving my own personal thoughts about the whole, shutdown situation, maybe some events that led up to it. Um, I haven't been working with Brick Planet for a few months, before it closed, and I'm not really gonna talk about that, why I left. Unless you guys want me to, then just post in the comments and I'll probably make a video on it. But I'm just gonna basically go over some of these blog posts that have been popping up. There's been one, maybe I think two actually from the owner himself. Uh, one from a former co-owner, and one from a former admin. So yeah, I guess, without further ado, let's just get right into it. So yeah, I have a bit of history with the owner himself. Uh, I'll probably end up making another video on that though, just to keep this video not too long. So I've already read most of it, all of this blog post actually. I'm not gonna read it again. If you want, I'll probably just copy and paste this into paste bin. You guys can read it yourself. I'll put it in the description. But I'm gonna go over a few of the key points that I really noticed. The first being that him and Nate, the game developer, decided that the effort and risk outraised the potential benefits and rewards, which I don't know. I didn't really see that when I was there at least. I thought there was a lot more potential to it. You know, granted the fact that some of the ideas had to be changed, but I guess they just didn't really see that. It says on August 23rd they were slammed with payment chargebacks, each which carried a $15 fee, and it set them back tremendously in a financial aspect. So basically, all of their money's been wiped out, including the money for paying income taxes and recurring bills, which is not a good position for them to be in. Um, I don't really know the financial situation of the website or what it was then. Um, I guess based on like when I was there, I guess I left like early May this year. There was still like a lot of money in savings. We had like maybe 7,000 around there, I believe. Don't quote me on that actually. But um, we also had a plan, basically saving half of the website's net profits each month. So, basically, if that plan was followed, then I don't really think this would have been much of an issue. But I don't really know the financial, situation. Maybe the following months weren't that good. Maybe some of the money from savings had to come out. Who knows, really? Um, he also goes to say that this is not the type of business that he wanted to really do. He doesn't really have any interest in the gaming industry, which he's known this for a while. I don't really know why he really continued because he's sent me messages before saying that he didn't want to do this, and this was a long time ago. Like um, I think like April. Even before that, he's stated that he doesn't want to do this before. From the beginning, they didn't have any vision, which is pretty true. There is also no point in moving forward if he can't put his heart and soul into it. Which, I also agree with. There is no point in him moving forward as far as the website, having to go down itself. I didn't really see why that had to happen. So yeah, he says that they don't have any plans to launch a successor to the site. Which, if you don't want to do this anymore, I don't see why you would want to launch anything else. He would do his best to keep the site up as long as possible. It's already down. It's been down for a few weeks. Unfortunately, that didn't really happen for that long. I think it was up for a few days after though. If we're able to find a seller, we may move forward in that route. Yeah, it's really a sad thing to see. I think Brick Planet definitely had its ups and downs. I really think that it could have done decent. Maybe not the next big thing, but it could have definitely been something, worth your time, worth our time. But if you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. I understand that. I just feel like you shouldn't have. I don't think it should have been shut down. I do think that was a little bit selfish. So yeah, this is the first blog post. I'm actually gonna go to our next blog post. I'm gonna try to do this in order. There was a blog post after this posted by a former co-owner. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go to that one. Okay, so this blog post was made by a former co-owner and actually the founder, like a co-founder of Brick Planet Block City. Um, it's a really long blog post. I'll put a link to his in the description, or you can just see it right here. It basically goes over his personal experience with the owner, his experience with the website, uh, basically like the development process of the website. But I'm gonna go ahead and go down to the closing of Brick Planet. Basically, uh, he says that it may not come as a surprise, which it really didn't to me because of what the owner said. Him not being really interested in this type of business, and the fact that he's threatened to shut it down before, which a lot of you may have not like known. He's threatened to shut it down before. It really didn't surprise me. So yeah, one of the biggest things that I guess threw a red flag for me was the fact that he says that him and another employee attempted to negotiate a deal, which basically was to offer him 3 to 7, royalty, which may not seem like a lot, but you know, if the company were successful, it would have been a huge deal. And even if it weren't a lot, he's still earning money from literally doing nothing but just letting someone else run the company. So, it seems like a decent deal. I don't know, the percentages seem a bit low to me. 3 to 7%, I personally would have asked for a bit more, but still, I would have taken the royalty over just straight up shutting it down. But probably the worst thing to me is this right here, which is apparently the revenue for the month of July, and basically in this, it shows that they made about a net profit of $8,657. They spent roughly $1,000 if you add all of this up, but maybe a bit, definitely a bit over, maybe like 1,200 on all of the site expenses like the servers, etc. But the payroll, which basically states that the CEO himself or the owner received $3,000. The general staff, which includes basically everyone but the owner, received a total of $4,000. Two of the 3D assets received collectively about $1,000, which brought the expenses to over 9,000. And actually, the net income was negative for that month, so I can definitely see where some of the savings money went. Um, there's several issues with this. The first being that when I was there, the CEO was only making about 2,000 a month instead of 3,000. On top of that, the site's revenue was a lot higher than this. There was one month we made 15,000. The next two we made like 10, 11,000. Then April we made 16,000. Um, so there's more money those months. I just didn't see why. Basically, his payroll increased the same time that the site's revenue decreased, which basically makes me think that he kind of purposefully did this to accelerate the closing of Brick Planet. Like I honestly think that he, deliberately tried to, do whatever he could to get it to close without making it seem so obvious. Because last time he just straight up closed the site. There wasn't really a good reason for that, in my opinion. Uh, so yeah, I think that the closing wasn't really due to the whole idea of Brick Planet as like itself, but rather just the management. Honestly, the management was not that great. So there's actually one more blog post that I want to go over that was posted by the owner himself after this. Okay, so this is the last blog post I'm going over. This is posted by the owner himself. I'll probably put a link to this as well, assuming it's still up at the time of me, recording this. So it basically goes to say that he had no vision, which he said again in the other one. He essentially copied Roblox's features and revenue model from bottom up, which is true, but I don't think there's really any effort to, try to differ themselves. Especially after I left, I think they just really followed. They were just really running wild. They didn't really have any set plan. Um, why did he close again? Because of the chargebacks, apparently, on top of declining revenue, which we just saw. Even though the revenue was declining, he was still paying himself, in my opinion, way too much. Um, but who am I to tell him how much to pay himself? I'm just saying, if it were me, I wouldn't have done that. I would have, focused on just trying to make sure the company has money, that's to save for next month, and that we're not, in the negatives for net profit. Like that's just, I don't know. I wouldn't have done that. Um, he basically goes on to say his thoughts on why this happened, which is basically that the universe gave him this because he wanted it, which to some extent I disagree with. I do think that he deliberately did this. He tried to accelerate the closing of it. Um, maybe the universe handed him that chargeback, which basically, set it in stone. But I do think that he kind of did this on purpose. Um, and this is just my own personal opinion. It's not like I'm saying he definitely did or anything. He then goes to say that he has $50 in his bank account. Um, and I actually saw a tweet that said that he was moving to Los Angeles with $50 in his bank account a week from now, I believe. Yeah, a week from now. Um, that was probably the most confusing thing I've ever heard in a while. Um, first off, you can't even afford to make it to Los Angeles with that amount of money from where he lives, which is in Alabama. So, I really, I'm having a hard time believing this statement. Maybe he has $50 in his account right now, but maybe his parents are gonna give him some money. Maybe there's still some money coming in from Big Planet because I know with AdSense actually they only pay you like once a month, so maybe there's still some money coming in from that. You know, but I don't think he's moving to LA with $50. You can't do anything with that unless you plan on just being homeless. I don't know. And he also said he was launching his own app called Dash Trade, which I was actually working with him on it at one point in time. But after the whole fall we had, I didn't really want to pursue any more businesses with him. So yeah, really, it's just been a really crazy few weeks. Um, personally, my whole thoughts on this, I guess, if I could summarize it, would be that I think Brick Planet definitely did not need to close. Even with the chargebacks, I think that could have been avoided easily. Um, I think the owner focused more on paying himself than he did, actually making sure the company was done well, which could be attributed to the fact that he didn't really, want to run a company like this anyways. But if you really didn't want to run a company, I think the smartest thing to do would have been to, hand it off to someone or sell it to someone that could run it, and maybe keep like a percentage, a small percentage of some of the profits, because he'd still be making money without doing anything. So if something like one of his other projects goes bad, he'd still be having a steady income, after that. Uh, yeah, I know I'm not the best speaker. This is one of my first videos, but I hope some of you guys can find closure in this. Maybe some of your thoughts have been, I guess, answered. Maybe some confusion was cleared. Um, I would try my best to not be biased towards anyone. I'm trying my best not to talk bad about anyone. This is just honestly my personal opinions, my thoughts. So yeah, if you guys want to see the my backstory on Brick Planet, and you want to see why I left Brick Planet, then just let me know in the comments, and I'll make a video on that. So while I was editing this video, I actually realized that I forgot to say something important, and that would be basically thanks to everyone that supported Brick Planet from the day it started, or even if you joined in later. Thanks to all the staff team that helped make it what it was. Um, and I'm glad that I was part of it. Even after I was gone, I still enjoyed, going to the Discord every now and then and talking to you guys in voice chat. But there's actually a few sites popping up, basically trying to give you guys a similar experience to what you had on Brick Planet. And I thought this would be a good time to showcase mine. I'm actually working on it with someone else that used to be at Brick Planet as well. It's called Ruby Realms. I'll leave a link in the description. But it's basically gonna give you this a similar experience to what you had on Brick Planet. Uh, you'll be able to make games, customize your character, buy, sell, trade items, forum posts, etc. So yeah, thanks for watching, and make sure to check it out.